Okay, so an eye for an eye. That saying has had meaning and been around in cultures forever. Our version is the death penalty. In the past, the death penalty was done through the electric chair or hanging, but since then, the method has been argued inhumane and they changed it to lethal injection. The death penalty is currently legal in 30 states, but we believe that it should be legalized throughout the nation. We also believe in capital punishment should be mandatory for all first-degree murder and rape charges.
So we'd first like to begin our claim and belief to the argument with reason number one is closure for families. Knowing that the person responsible for the heinous crime against your family member, such as murder or rape in the first degree, has paid the ultimate price for what they did, instead of being sent to jail with the possibility of escaping or getting out on good behavior. There was a case that happened a while back in 1984. A letter to the editor was written by Kermit Alexander. He said, "Whatever your feelings toward the death penalty are, one thing you will never know is the pain experienced by that family member, or in my case, family members that are brutally murdered and tortured. His mother and sisters were killed cold-heartedly by an 18-year-old. That 18-year-old, instead of getting the death penalty, sat in prison and didn't pay the ultimate price. We believe that that should not be the case." So the next reason is
We believe that prisons are too overpopulated, and in an article titled "The Death Penalty versus Life Incarceration," a financial analysis was written by Torin McFarlane. He states that the highest incarceration rate compared to any other state, the United States has the highest incarceration rate compared to any other country and is increasing. And then each additional prisoner requires food, cell, clothing, and extra guard time. And then when you eliminate the death penalty as an option, it means that the prisoner must be housed for life. Because of that, it only adds to the problem of an overcrowded prison system.
which is currently our predicament today. There are 3 people roughly to the bunk to a tiny cell because those people have not had the death penalty that's been taken off the table. So instead they are forced to share that tiny cell and not pay the ultimate price.
And taxpayers like ourselves are paying for that.
It's up to $60,000, I think,
Per inmate minimum.
Yep, that we are paying for them to be there.
All right, and then so another reason we have is when prisoners are given the option of parole, they have an opportunity to escape, and it gives them the ability to commit more crimes. And if they have murdered in the past, they are more likely to offend again. Even if a criminal is sentenced to life without possibility of parole, he can still have the chance to kill someone while he is in prison, including an officer or any other prisoners in there with him.
Yeah, not only can they get out and maybe go after the family members of the person that they already have murdered, they can kill people that are at their fingertips, literally within an arm's length of them, because they're not sentenced to the death penalty. Our next reasoning is that it gives prosecutors another bargaining chip in the plea bargain process, which is essential in cutting costs and overcrowding our system. As stated in abalancedpolitics.org, written by Joe Mercelli, it gives prosecutors another bargaining chip in the plea bargain process, which is essential in cutting overcrowding in the system. The number of criminal cases that are plea bargained, meaning the accused admits guilt in return for a lesser sentence or some other concession, can be as high as 80 or 90% of the cases. With the time, cost, and personal requirements of the criminal case, that isn't really much of a choice. The vast majority of people are arraigned in fact guilty of the crime that they are accused for. Even if you believe the defendant only deserves life in prison, without the threat of a death sentence, there may be no way to get him to plead guilty and accept the sentencing. If the case goes to trial, in addition to the enormous cost, you ruin the chance of giving them the rightful punishment they deserve for the crime that they committed. Next, we're going to address the possible counter arguments that people could make about the other side of the death penalty.
Okay. The first one that we're going to bring up is some may argue that innocent people are executed for crimes they did not commit, which in the past has happened. People have been executed. 20 years later, they find out they never did it. According to balancepolitics.org, DNA testing and other methods of modern crime scene science can now effectively eliminate almost all uncertainty as if a person is guilty or innocent. We can never completely eliminate all uncertainty, but nowadays it's about as close as you can get. And when it comes to the death penalty, the jury will not decide on the death penalty unless it is without a doubt. They won't do it.
They have to prove that they for sure committed that crime. They're not going to kill somebody that is proven innocent.
No. DNA testing is over 99% effective now, and even if DNA testing and other scientific methods didn't exist, the trial and appeals court process is so thorough it's next to impossible to convict an innocent person. But, like I've said, it has happened, which we can't deny. Remember, a jury of 12 members must unanimously decide if there's not even a reasonable doubt the person is guilty. The number of innocent people that might somehow be convicted is no greater than the number of innocent victims of the murder who are set free.
Yep. The next argument that someone could make is that it goes against the Eighth Amendment, which is cruel and unusual punishment. This has in fact been debunked because in fact the death penalty uses lethal injection, which causes very little to no pain during.
It basically puts them to sleep.
If
That's
you think
basically what it
of
does.
a dog being put down at the vet, that's kind of what it goes through.
It's basically what it does. Like a
There
dog bites
has-
a kid, they put the dog down.
There has been times where people have said that there is a little bit of burning in the veins, but in the grand scheme of things, those people possibly tortured, raped, and murdered other people, so why should a little bit of burning towards their death be what causes us to not put them to death?
Yes.
It's a very humane way of completing the death penalty. According to Cornell Law School article, the death penalty Eighth Amendment analysis requires that courts consider the evolving standards of decency to determine if a particular punishment consists of a cruel or unusual punishment. When considering evolving standards of decency, courts look for an objective factors to show a change in community standards and also independent evaluations whether to prove it, basically.
All right. Another one is some may say that it sends the wrong message. Why kill people who kill people to show killing is wrong? Well, we believe that this is because it completely cuts off the chance of this person who did a heinous crime from reoffending. For taxpayers, it costs several times that of keeping a prisoner for life. Yes, it is expensive for the death penalty. Lethal injection is not cheap, but it saves the cost on overpopulation.
Think of overpopulation. Think of all the other arguments we made before this. The death penalty, of course, has a bunch of controversy tied to it, but killing people that killed others is, in fact, equal punishment. It's what we should be using to deterrence other criminals. If they see that if you kill or rape someone, that you are not just put in prison for the rest of your life. And most people think that while they're in there, they are going over the mistakes that they've made.
They're not.
That's not the case.
Basically just reoffending over and over in there.
They have the opportunity to because they are still alive.
Yes.
This doesn't say that every single person in there is going to reoffend, but that possibility is there, so why would we not want to for sure make sure that that doesn't happen again? Overall, the death penalty is a course of full controversy. Even so, some of the facts and reasons on why we believe in capital punishment for the death penalty for first-degree murder and rape charges. These criminals have committed horrible and heinous crimes and are not getting the punishment that they deserve. So we believe that it should be nationwide legally.
Some people see capital punishment as too hard or too expensive, but that's not the points to be focused on. These people committed horrible crimes, and we need to focus on the families of the victims and the crimes that this person did, and it's clear justice that it needs to be served, an eye for an eye.
So if you have the ability to voice out your opinion on this, we could possibly get petitions for a bill that could be passed to legalize it nationwide. Please voice your opinions on this. Don't just wait for another person to say something, because people have